Hey, come here!
Huh? What's wrong?
Shoo, be quiet.
I had returned home in the middle of the night due to an urgent task from work. As I quietly tried to make my way back to the bedroom on the second floor without waking up my family, my father-in-law suddenly dragged me into the attic. I looked at my father-in-law with a puzzled expression, not understanding what was going on.
Listen carefully to the sounds downstairs.
Huh? Though confused by my father-in-law's actions, I did as he said and paid attention to the sounds downstairs. Indeed, I heard a strange noise that I had never heard before. What on earth was that sound? After noticing the sound, I found a gap through which I could peek downstairs to check the situation. The scene I saw was also bizarre. What? What on earth is this? As I trembled in fear at the sight.
Run quickly.
My father-in-law whispered to me, making sure the woman downstairs couldn't hear. I decided to trust my father-in-law and act. I am Ivy, a 38-year-old system programmer. Hey, Anthony, what time do you think you'll be able to finish work and come home today?
Well, work is calm right now, so I think I can come home on time.
That's great. Then we can all have dinner together tonight. All right, Miles, we're off to work.
Take care and be safe.
Anthony is my husband, and we got married 2 years ago. Currently, the three of us, Anthony, my father-in-law Miles, and I, live together in my in-laws' house. We don't have any children. It's not that we dislike or don't want children, but I was in a car accident when I was younger, which is the reason.
It's been a while since we went out with Ivy.
Yes, it really has.
I hope we can continue to go out like this in the future. One day, many years ago, I was enjoying a drive with my parents, with my father at the wheel. As long as we were healthy, I thought we could continue to go out like this. But then, tragedy struck suddenly. Watch out!
Huh? Whoa!
No!
Suddenly, a car that ran a red light crashed head-on into our car, which my father was driving. The impact caused our car to overturn, and I lost consciousness. A witness must have called an ambulance. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed. When I regained consciousness, I called for the doctor and nurse to check on my parents' condition.
I'm sorry, but your parents have passed away. And, although your life was saved, well...
Huh? Is there something else? The doctor, looking reluctant, informed me of my parents' death. Not only that, but he also told me about my condition.
Actually, your uterus was damaged.
What? What does that mean? Does it mean I can't have children in the future?
It's not that you can't have children, but it will be difficult for you to conceive.
No way! Thus, I lost my parents in the accident and became infertile due to the impact of the accident. Did I lose my parents and my goal of becoming a mother in the future? When I was confronted with that reality, I was in shock. After that, I didn't feel like doing anything and even thought about joining my parents in heaven. But while sorting through their belongings, I found photos of their smiling faces and mementos, and I realized that if I went to them now, they would surely be sad. That thought stopped me. I can't go on like this. I still have my job. Because of my infertility, I gave up on romance, thinking, maybe it's okay to give up on love? But instead, I immersed myself in my work as a system programmer. Then, 3 years ago, when I was 35, my life took a turn.
I'm Anthony, the new sales representative. Nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you too. This was my first encounter with Anthony. My first impression of him was that he was a serious and sincere person about his work. To me, who was also immersed in my work, Anthony's earnest attitude towards his job was very attractive. Perhaps Anthony felt the same way about me. We built a good working relationship, but one day, Anthony suddenly said something unexpected.
Excuse me, would you like to go out for a meal with me sometime?
Huh? Anthony, excuse me, but are you married? Anthony was 2 years older than me, so he was 37 at that time. It wouldn't have been surprising if he was married. So I asked just to be sure.
I'm embarrassed to say, but I divorced my ex-wife because of my infertility, so I'm single now.
Oh, I see. I felt a little sorry for making him say that, but hearing his story made me feel like I could take a step forward. If I couldn't have children because of his infertility, I wouldn't have to worry about being blamed, right? The reason I gave up on romance after becoming infertile was because I feared being blamed and mentally attacked by men who wanted children. But if Anthony had the same concerns as I did, I felt we could share and support each other. All right. Let's go out for a meal. Thus, I accepted Anthony's invitation for a date. Even in private, Anthony's stories were interesting, and I began to think that I could enjoy spending time with him in the future. As we spent time together like that, we naturally grew closer, and Anthony confessed his feelings to me, leading to our relationship. Then, a year later, when I was 36 years old.
Ivy, I love you. We can't have children, but will you marry me?
Looking straight at me, Anthony proposed, and my answer was clear. Actually, I became infertile due to an accident in the past. So, it's okay if we don't have children. As long as I have you, Anthony. Most people probably think, I want children when I get married. Considering that, infertility can be a potential obstacle to marriage. However, we were able to expose our weaknesses to each other and agree that a life without children was acceptable, leading to our marriage. I thought my happy new life would begin from there, but...
I wanted to show my mother how happy I am to be married to you.
I also wanted to show this to my parents. Anthony and I had this conversation during our wedding. Anthony's mother, who is my mother-in-law, had passed away 2 years before our wedding. I had heard stories about how she had doted on Anthony before the wedding. I wondered if he had a bit of a mama's boy tendency. But I also cherished my own parents, so I told myself not to overthink it. Now, as for where we live after getting married, as I mentioned at the beginning, the 3 of us, Anthony, Miles, and I, lived together in my in-laws' house. Living with Miles was Anthony's wish.
Hey, Ivy, if I leave the house, Dad will be alone.
Yes, That's true.
Dad is getting old, and I'm worried about him. So, I'm sorry, but can we live together?
Living together. Okay, that's fine. Honestly, I had some reservations about living with my in-laws. I wanted to spend peaceful time alone with Anthony. But since my parents had already passed away, I couldn't do anything for them anymore. So, I understood Anthony's desire to do something for Miles, and I decided to accept his request. Besides wanting to respect Anthony's feelings for Miles, there was another reason. I thought Anthony was serious and kind, so I assumed Miles would have a similar personality. If that were the case, I thought I could get along well with Miles even if we lived together. That optimistic thinking was my first mistake. What's wrong? I can't seem to sleep well. Some people can't sleep when their environment changes, even if they can sleep well in their familiar bedroom. But I had never had trouble sleeping at my grandparents' house or in hotels while traveling. However, I felt uncomfortable sleeping only at my in-laws' house. It wasn't just because I was using a different bed or pillow. My relationship with Miles was likely affecting it. I felt that Miles was keeping his distance from me. I couldn't understand why he was doing that. Miles, excuse me. Can I talk to you for a moment?
Sorry, I'm busy right now. Can we do this later?
Okay, I understand. Even when I tried to talk to him like this, he would avoid me by saying he was busy or end the conversation with a simple or yeah, I see, avoiding any interaction with me. Did I do something to upset Miles? I thought there must be a reason for Miles' attitude, but I couldn't think of anything. Maybe Anthony knows something. But even Anthony's attitude towards me became distant after a year of marriage. Hey, Anthony, has Miles always been quiet or bad at interacting with people?
Huh? Why are you asking that?
Well, it feels like he's avoiding me or keeping his distance.
I don't know. Maybe you did something. Don't bother me with this stuff.
What? Anthony, what's gotten into you? By the time we had been married for a year, Anthony's kind demeanor from before the marriage was gone, and he began to treat me harshly with rough words. Anthony's behavior would continue to worsen, and it would become clear later that Miles had a legitimate reason for keeping his distance from me, unlike Anthony. Anthony's erratic behavior towards me wasn't limited to harsh words. If he deemed something unnecessary, he would throw it away, even if it was mine. Among the discarded items were things I cherished. Hey, Anthony, have you seen the stuffed animal my parents gave me?
Oh, that dirty thing? I threw it away a long time ago. You're too old for stuffed animals.
What? That stuffed animal was a precious gift from my parents. Anthony's actions became increasingly outrageous. I realized I had to keep important things out of Anthony's sight. While I was organizing my belongings, Miles approached me.
Ivy, is this stuffed animal yours?
Oh, yes, it is. I'm so glad you found it.
I saw Anthony taking it somewhere.
Thank you so much. You saved me. Thanks to Miles, I got my precious stuffed animal back. Miles is actually kind. I never expected him to retrieve it for me since he had been keeping his distance. There must be a reason for his attitude towards me. I was sure of it. I thought I could build a good relationship with Miles from now on. But just when I started to think that way, things took another sudden turn.
Huff! Huff! Hug!
Miles, are you okay? One day, Miles suddenly complained of feeling unwell. His face looked pale, and I had to take him to the hospital. After an examination, no immediate illness was found, but he was admitted for further tests just in case. I reported this to Anthony. However, Anthony showed no concern for Miles and made an unbelievable statement.
If they find something, the doctors will treat him, right? It's not my problem.
What? Didn't we decide to live together because you were worried about Miles? Anthony's words clearly contradicted what he had said when we got married. Was he always this cold-hearted? Where did the kind Anthony from before go? I was shocked by the drastic change, but this was just the beginning. A few days later, something even more shocking happened. While I was out shopping, I saw Anthony in town. At first, I hesitated to call out to him and watched from a distance.
Kathy, you're so cute!
Oh, Anthony, stop it!
What is this? Could it be? Anthony was walking with a woman, looking very friendly, and they were talking as if they were a couple. Their behavior was like that of lovers, but there was something that felt off. It was the age of the woman with Anthony. I saw her for the first time, so I didn't know her actual age, but she seemed significantly older than Anthony. Is she a relative I don't know about? Or is he having an affair? Either way, Anthony's behavior is suspicious. If I leave it like this, I'll just keep feeling uneasy. Rather than that, I want to investigate and know the truth. So, I decided to hire a detective agency. With Miles' condition and Anthony's behavior, there were more and more things to worry about, and I couldn't find any peace. In the midst of this, I received a call from the hospital where Miles was admitted, saying that the test results were out. I immediately went to the hospital to hear from the doctor.
Please stay calm. Miles has terminal cancer and has about 2 years left to live.
What? No way!
I thought so.
I was shocked by the doctor's announcement, but Miles seemed strangely calm. Maybe he understood his own body? He was that calm. Shortly after Miles' test results came out, I also received a call from the detective agency saying that the investigation results were ready. I didn't want to accept the harsh reality and prayed for a favorable outcome, but
The investigation results are out, and to conclude, your husband is having an affair.
no way! My prayers were in vain, and it seemed Anthony was indeed having an affair. I thought I had to face reality and check the photos laid out. Huh? This woman is different from the one before? The woman I saw before was older, but the woman in the photos was young. They looked similar, but they were clearly different in age. Could Anthony be having affairs with multiple women? In any case, it doesn't change the fact that he betrayed me. I can't forgive such betrayal. Honestly, I thought about divorcing Anthony, but Miles is battling terminal cancer. If I divorce now, Miles would have to fight the disease and loneliness alone. Considering that possibility, I decided to prioritize Miles and postpone the divorce. Miles, how are you feeling?
Today, I'm feeling better than usual. I'm sorry for making you worry.
No, it's okay. Observing Miles, it seemed he didn't need care yet. However, since he was given a terminal diagnosis, his condition could change suddenly at any time. To be prepared for that, I wanted to spend as much time with Miles as possible.
Ha ha ha! Kathy!
Anthony, over here.
He's at it again, really. Anthony was still infatuated with Kathy. Whether it was from the detective's investigation or my own sightings, the information and evidence of Anthony's affairs kept piling up, leaving me exasperated. I couldn't trust Anthony with Miles anymore. I completely lost trust in Anthony, and while he was having affairs, I was taking care of Miles alone. But then, a few weeks later, there was trouble at work. My boss contacted me, saying that urgent action was needed and asked me to come. I was worried about Miles, but my boss seemed desperate, so it must have been something serious. Thinking that, I hurried to my workplace. When I arrived at work, I saw my boss and colleagues bustling around, so I checked the situation with my boss. Following instructions, I joined in and started working. The task was more challenging than I had anticipated, but thanks to everyone's cooperation, we managed to complete it successfully, and I was able to go home. It's already so late. By the time I finished work and got home, it was midnight. I quietly unlocked the door and entered the house, trying not to wake Miles. I planned to head straight to the bedroom on the second floor and rest for the night. But as I was about to open the bedroom door,
Ivy, come here.
What? Miles, what's wrong?
Shoo, be quiet.
I was surprised that Miles was still awake, but I was even more shocked by where he took me. He dragged me into the attic, which we now used as a storage room, and even closed the door behind us. What? Miles, what's going on?
Listen carefully to the sounds downstairs.
What? I was really puzzled by Miles' actions, but as I listened to the sounds downstairs as he instructed, I heard a strange noise I had never heard before. What is this sound? Noticing the strange noise, I realized I could see downstairs through a crack. What I saw was even more bizarre. Kathy, whom I had seen before, was walking down the hallway with a bloodshot face.
Ivy, where are you? I won't forgive the woman who seduces Anthony.
What? Is she looking for me? Her target wasn't Anthony but me. Her vengeful words were clear enough to make me think so. Could it be that my life is in danger? Judging by her demeanor, it must be. I instinctively felt the danger and held my breath. Oh, what should I do? I was paralyzed with fear and confusion, but seeing my state, Miles spoke to me.
We can't stay here. She might appear in front of us at any moment, so run.
But if I do that, what about you, Miles?
Don't worry about me. Just focus on not meeting Anthony until the divorce is finalized. Think only about that.
Okay. Miles was desperately trying to protect me. To honor his feelings, I realized that my priority should be to ensure my own safety. I couldn't rush out and run into her. As I watched her,
Ivy, I'll find you someday.
she spat out those words and left.
She's gone. Ivy, take this. Then you need to leave the house immediately.
Yes, I understand. With that, I took the letter from Miles and hurriedly left the house. After that, I went through the divorce process with a lawyer I had prepared in advance and also claimed compensation for the affair. The investigation by the detective agency revealed that Anthony had been having an affair during work hours. I informed the company about it, and Anthony was fired as a result. With the divorce finalized, I had to meet Anthony regarding the compensation, but
Poof. Even if I divorce you, I'll just be with Kathy, so it's fine. Besides, I'm about to make a lot of money, so I'll pay the alimony in one go.
thank you very much. Anthony said this, trying to act tough, and paid the alimony in a lump sum. And for some reason, Kathy was also there.
Heh, what a foolish woman to let go of Anthony.
She said this with a triumphant smile. Still, she looks older than in the photos. Kathy thinks she has won against me, but I never considered it a competition in the first place. I really don't care, so she can say whatever she wants. What bothered me more was the gap between the photos and reality. 2 years later, Miles passed away after battling his illness. I attended the funeral.
Ha ha ha! Finally! This day has come! You really kept me waiting.
What? Is that Anthony? How can he make such an inappropriate remark at his own father's funeral? And not just his words, but his appearance had deteriorated so much over the past 2 years that he looked like a different person.
I paid Ivy the compensation because I thought I'd get a lot of money soon, but that old man made me wait for 2 years.
Hey, Anthony, enough! Do you even realize what you're saying?
Naturally, Anthony's relatives were also at the funeral, and they couldn't stand his constant offensive remarks and tried to stop him.
Well, it's fine. Anthony has been through so much.
What? You? Why are you here?
It was Anthony's mistress, Kathy, who appeared, and Anthony's relatives were shocked and speechless upon seeing her. The reason became clear after the funeral. You seemed surprised to see Kathy. Is there something about her? When I asked Anthony's relatives, they explained with slightly pale faces.
So her name is Kathy. I thought she was Mira.
Mira?
Anthony's mother. Ivy, you never met her?
No, she had already passed away when we got married. But the reason Kathy looked older made a bit more sense after hearing Anthony's relatives. Well, I don't really care about Kathy now. I wonder if Anthony will start causing a scene for a certain purpose soon. As I watched, it happened as expected.
Hey, enough with the boring talk. Just give me the inheritance already.
Anthony's goal was Miles' inheritance. He was under the delusion that he would finally get it, and his excitement was strange. Here, I decided to confront Anthony with a reality he didn't know. Sorry, but things won't go as you planned. Miles left a will.
A will!
Yes. I was adopted by Miles. I'm the one who will inherit the estate.
What? Don't be ridiculous.
I expected him to complain when I told him this, and he did. But a man who had been so selfish had no right to complain in the first place. Who's being ridiculous here? You neglected Miles and had an affair, so don't act all high and mighty.
Ugh, damn it.
When I glared at Anthony and scolded him, he couldn't say anything back and bit his lip in frustration, falling silent. The only one who spoke to him then was Kathy.
It's okay, Anthony. I'll take care of you,
she said, hugging Anthony and comforting him. Could it be? What came to my mind was the letter Miles had left behind. What was written in that letter was hard to believe.
I have a sixth sense. Anthony's mistress, Kathy, is possessed by my late wife, Mira.
When I read the letter, I thought, no way. But now, seeing Kathy hugging Anthony, her behavior and appearance were exactly like Myra's. And the gap between the photos and reality, could that be the reason? Photos capture the real state, so ghosts don't appear in them, only the young woman in reality. That's probably it. However, for those who saw her, like me, Miles, and Anthony's relatives, Mira, who possessed Kathy, overlapped with her appearance. That's why Kathy looked older. Miles also mentioned the reason for Anthony's divorce from his previous wife before marrying me.
Anthony's first divorce was because of Mira. Mira was obsessed with Anthony and tormented his ex-wife. That's why they divorced.
I had heard that Mira doted on Anthony. But I never imagined it would be to this extent. I was utterly appalled. Moreover, even after her death, Mira was still obsessed with Anthony and had possessed his mistress.
Anthony is not at fault. It's all this woman's fault.
What is she talking about? Could Kathy be prone to being possessed by ghosts? The eerie sight sent chills down my spine. Is this the result of her bad behavior? Seeing her now, with her identity seemingly merged with Myra's, I couldn't help but think so. The woman in front of me was clearly possessed by Mira, but this wasn't the first time. Miles' letter mentioned that the one who appeared that night wasn't Kathy but Mira. Frustrated that I hadn't yet decided to divorce Anthony, she had plotted to get rid of me. It's pitiful that Kathy ended up being possessed by Mira. Thinking that way, I felt sorry for Kathy. However, Miles had also noticed that Kathy approached Anthony for money, so he said to me there was no need to sympathize with her. 5 years passed. When I visited Miles' grave on his death anniversary, I met Anthony's relatives, and naturally, the conversation turned to Anthony.
On the day of the funeral, Kathy said she would take care of Anthony, but it seems she didn't have any money herself.
So, where are they living now?
They became homeless.
Oh, I see. Given their state 5 years ago, they weren't in a good condition. If time passed as it did, becoming homeless was a natural outcome. I thought they might be regretting their current situation, but apparently not.
But they didn't seem to realize they were living a hard life. They laughed loudly as if they were living in a mansion.
What? Is that okay?
Of course not. If left unchecked, they would cause trouble for many people. To prevent that, we had no choice but to cooperate with other relatives and admit him to a mental hospital.
I see. It must have been tough for everyone. How much did the relatives struggle to get Anthony admitted to a mental hospital? It must not have been easy. However, as soon as he was admitted, Anthony suddenly went mad. Kathy also changed similarly and was sent to the same mental hospital as Anthony. Even now, I don't think admitting them to a mental hospital will bring them back to normal. The doctors and nurses who have to deal with them must have a hard time, but I hope the damage caused by those two will be minimized. By the way, in the letter Miles wrote to me, he mentioned that my parents were protecting me. Considering that I survived a car accident in the past, that possibility is quite plausible. However, if Miles hadn't helped me escape 7 years ago, I might not be here now. Thinking about it, Miles must be protecting me too. Although he didn't mention it in his letter, I'm sure that's the case. To reassure the 3 people watching over me from heaven, I want to live a happy life from now on.
How did you like this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.